The idea that Brazil only produces commodities is a common one, but it also shows how little we Brazilians often know about our own country's industries. WEG stands out as a powerful example of a company that broke this mold. It grew and succeeded so spectacularly that it became a true global benchmark in the electro-electronic equipment sector. The small motor factory, started by 3 men in the 1960s in a small town called Jaraguá do Sul, now has branches in 37 countries and factories in 15 others. In 2022, its revenue hit an incredible 29.9 billion reais, with 56% of that coming from international markets. With over 38,000 employees worldwide, WEG produces more than 19 million motors annually. But their product line is much broader than that, with over 1,500 different products sold across 5 continents. In recent years, WEG has earned the nickname the Billionaire Factory for the massive value it has generated for its shareholders, becoming a darling of the Brazilian stock market and surprising analysts with every quarterly report. Today, in this episode of Made in Brazil, we'll share the story of Werner, Egon and Geraldo, the founders of WEG, and how their successors and employees transformed it into a global powerhouse. But first, if you enjoy our content, please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Every week we bring you the most interesting stories from the world of business right here. The story of one of Brazil's most important industries, WEG, can't be told without first looking at the lives of its 3 founders, Werner, Egon, and Geraldo. Werner Ricardo Voigt, born in 1930 to German immigrants, always had a passion for electricity. As a young boy, he was fascinated by the water wheel that powered his father's sawmill, and at just 6 years old, he was already building working replicas. As a young man, he worked in workshops and for a power company, served in the army, and specialized in electronics. In 1953, Werner opened his own small workshop in Jaraguá do Sul, providing general maintenance and repair services for the entire region. It was on one of these occasions that an acquaintance named Egon João da Silva showed up with a car problem. Egon, Werner's future partner, was born in 1929. He started working at age 13, and by 1957, after 14 years at the state's main bank, he became a partner in a company specializing in exhaust pipes, handling the administrative side. During a chat at Werner's workshop, Egon mentioned an issue a local businessman was having: long delays in receiving the electric motors he ordered. Hearing this, Werner said something that sparked an idea in Egon's mind. By combining their skills with a good mechanic, they could produce motors themselves right there in little Jaraguá do Sul. And as luck would have it, Egon knew the perfect man for the job, Geraldo Verninghaus. Geraldo, born in Rio do Sul, started his career in his father's workshop. By 14, he was already passionate about mechanics, loving the world of lathes, grease and tools. After serving in the army, he returned to work with his father, which is where Werner and Egon found him and made their proposal. Without much hesitation, Geraldo accepted. In the 1960s, the demand for electric motors was booming in the Jaraguá do Sul region. The waiting list to buy a motor in the city was 40 to 60 days. Seeing this pent-up demand, the 3 men spotted a huge opportunity. On September 16, 1961, Werner the electrician, Egon the administrator, and Geraldo the mechanic founded Eletromotores Jaraguá. Egon was chosen as the company's president due to his administrative skills. Their initial capital was roughly equivalent to the price of 3 Volkswagen Beetles at the time. The company was initially called Eletromotores Jaraguá, but the name soon changed to WEG. The motors they produced had a metal plate with the inscription WEG, the initials of the founders. Soon, customers started calling the company by that name. WEG also means path or way in German. In the beginning, they only produced electric motors. In the first week, they made just 5. But from the start, the founders' combined skills and similar work ethic created a powerful synergy, with a relentless focus on product quality. Still, the early days were tough. They were competing against large established companies, mostly imported brands. WEG was located in a small town of just 12,000 people with serious communication and logistics challenges. It was also a time when Brazilians weren't used to buying locally manufactured industrial products, but they were determined to be the exception. The three founders would take a bus to neighboring towns with motors under their arms, trying to sell their products. And soon their efforts paid off. In 1964, WEG began building its own headquarters. The company was growing and hiring, but they soon faced a new problem: a lack of skilled labor. Their solution was to create their own training program. In 1968, the company opened the WEG Training Center. Around the same time, the founders took a research trip to Germany to study the best manufacturing processes. They returned with a wealth of information about products and best practices, giving them a significant competitive edge. 2 years later, in 1970, inspired by this knowledge, the company established its WEG quality policy and produced its first motor that met national standards, which quickly became a huge success. The so-called Brazilian economic miracle was in full swing, and WEG's products started gaining ground across the country. But in a controversial move, the company began exporting in 1970, even though many employees felt they should first serve the domestic market. Their first international customers were in Guatemala, Uruguay, Paraguay, Ecuador, and Bolivia. A year later, the company went public. Well capitalized, WEG opened its second industrial plant focused on products for export. By the end of the decade, they had produced 1 million motors, exporting to over 20 countries. But the 1980s brought economic turmoil to Brazil. The country faced a recession, and WEG's sales dropped sharply. The founders' solution was to diversify their products. In a bold strategic move, the company launched new business fronts: WEG drives, WEG machines, WEG transformers, WEG chemistry, and WEG automation. They also began a strategy of vertical integration, producing as many components as possible in-house. This allowed WEG to expand from being just a motor producer to a manufacturer of all the components needed to make the machines run. The success was exponential. With their mission accomplished, the founding trio realized it was time for a new generation to take over. In 1989, after nearly 30 years, Egon passed the presidency to his son, Décio da Silva. The three founders then moved to the company's board of directors. In the 1990s, the new president, Décio, started a revolution at WEG, with a strong focus on international expansion. The company set its sights on the world's largest consumer markets, the United States and Europe. First came a subsidiary in the US, followed by branches in Germany, England, France, Spain, and Sweden. By the end of the 90s, 29% of the company's production was exported to over 55 countries. In Brazil, WEG dominated the market, holding a 79% share of the electric motor sector. The new millennium began with great news. In 2000, WEG acquired its first 2 factories abroad, one in Mexico and another in Argentina. A year later, the company reached an annual revenue of 1 billion reais for the first time. Its international expansion continued at full speed, opening new factories in Portugal and China. In 2006, the company hit another major milestone: the production of its 100 millionth motor. With these achievements, Décio da Silva, the man who put the WEG brand on the global map, decided it was time to step down and become chairman of the board. Harry Schmelzer Jr., a career employee who started as an intern, took over as CEO. Harry continued his predecessor's pace of acceleration, now heavily focused on acquisitions both in Brazil and abroad. New factories in Argentina, India, South Africa, and other countries joined the group. In total, since he took over, more than 25 companies were acquired, further diversifying the business. One of the most important new ventures was wind power generation. In 2011, the company began manufacturing wind turbines. The following year, their first equipment was installed in a wind farm in northeastern Brazil. That same year, international sales surpassed domestic sales for the first time, accounting for 51% of WEG's revenue and confirming the success of its global strategy. These acquisitions, new market entries, and diversification proved to be a massive success. In 2020, the company's market value exceeded 100 billion reais, and its shares appreciated by over 1,000% in the last decade. All this financial success earned the company the nickname the Billionaire Factory. According to a recent Forbes survey, WEG is the company that has created the most billionaires in Brazil. The wealth generated is a result of the different fronts the company operates on. Today, WEG has 4 business divisions: industrial electro-electronic equipment, power generation, transmission and distribution, commercial motors, and coatings. And its growth isn't stopping. The company ended 2022 with a net profit of 4.2 billion reais, a 17.3% increase from the previous year, and a net revenue of 29.9 billion reais. One of the reasons for these incredible numbers is its historic focus on innovation. The company has been investing heavily in renewable energy, artificial intelligence, and electric mobility. WEG recently signed contracts to supply chargers for electric cars with clients like Volvo and Renault. They also acquired control of 2 artificial intelligence startups to provide complete end-to-end solutions for their customers in the electrical sector. This remains a major goal for the company. By all indications, WEG's path of success will continue for many years. The journey of WEG continues with large strides and great moments. Today we applaud the story of 3 men who saw a market opportunity and turned it into a source of immense wealth and inspiration for thousands upon thousands of Brazilians. Thanks so much for watching. If you learned something new, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss our next video. See you next time.